Well, it's Tuesday, the results are in. Christian didn't call again. Was I really expecting him? I was hoping he wouldn't come today, and I'll explain why in a minute. So how did I do? Before we look at this week's picture then, so I'm there just like last week, just on the edge of zone 1, they went even higher. Now, if you remember last week, I said I'm going to go in the middle because if they look at his left eye, the guy in the back in the green, they're going to go down here. If they look at his other eye, they're going to go further up there, where they have gone. So I thought, well, I'll go in the middle somewhere and hope that it'll be the average of the two. However, they ended up going higher. So I had half of my £1.50 that I spent back because I only played my free ticket. See, this is why I don't play 10 tickets or 20 tickets. It's very rare that I'm close enough to warrant spending that much money and getting it all back. So how did the judges do? Let's have a look. I'd like to say it's quite a good cluster from the judges, but it isn't. I mean, there are 8 judges this week, but there's only a small cluster around there where the actual average is. You can see one player has gone down there, where I said one of the eyes would look. I thought more of them would have gone down there, but more of them went higher, which is why the average sort of went higher. I don't know what they'll take out this week. They'll take that one out up there because that's, I don't know, I think that's a bit silly. I can't see anyone's looking at that one up there. But there's quite a few that are not particularly close to that tiny cluster. It's not much of a cluster at all, really. Let's have a look who they took out, because they're bound to have taken at least one out. Ah, okay, that was interesting. And the explanation made sense. They've decided that because there are about 4 of them outside of that little cluster there, that they're going to leave them all in because they all balance each other out. And I think they got a fair point there, because if you look at where that average is, yeah, there is the furthest 3 away. If you're going to take one away, you'd have to take all 3 away, wouldn't you? And then you're down to 5 judges. So, yeah, it probably makes sense that they've left all 8 judges in and left that average cross where it is. Which I know will please a lot of people, because a lot of people don't like the fact that some of the crosses get taken out at all. So they'll be happy with that. So there we are. Yeah, I suppose I'm alright with that. And I do remember, I can't remember who it was now without going to look at the comments from last week's video, but I do remember saying it'll be right by the player's elbow and wrist. You know where you are, you'll be in the comments, I'll have a look after. But yeah, you were spot on, fair play. Alright, let's have a look at this week's picture. So there's my one cross that I've put in so far, and I'm not 100% sure with that. And I know some of you will say in the comments, oh dear me, what are you doing, Mark? You're miles out. And yeah, probably am. But it's the first one of the week, and I'm trying not to overthink it, because a couple of you have said over the last few weeks that you would have been much closer, or possibly won, if you hadn't moved your original cross. So why have I gone where I've gone? Well, even though I'm not 100% convinced with it, it's a tricky one, because we've got 3 lines of sight here. He seems to be looking up that sort of direction. His other eye is also looking to me in that sort of direction, but this fella doesn't look as though he's looking that far away, or that far to the to his left then. So I've got him looking that way, and goodness knows what this fella's doing up here. This is one of the ones that's looking up through his eyelids. So the nearest I can get is he's looking somewhere up in that direction as well. So for me, it's a bit of a stab in the dark, really, and try to get the best of all 3 of them. I'm not even sure if the judges will take into consideration this player on the right, or it's usually like 3 players is usually too much for the judges to comprehend. So I'm not sure if I should ignore the player on the right and just concentrate on these 2, which would still be sort of roughly the same. It might be a little bit lower, perhaps a little bit more to the right. I don't know. I'll have to study it through the week. But so far my one cross is 44161128. But I'll leave that as the first comment. So by all means, leave a coordinate for this week. We'll make another one on Saturday and see where the average is, because the average has been quite close the last couple of weeks, I think. Yeah, it's been better than our guesses. Right, Revcomps then. What's before I forget, I was going to say why I didn't want to win this week's Dream Car. I'm waiting until next week because I bought 2 tickets on that camper van. And of course the problem is, if I won the Dream Car today, which would have been the BMW and 50 grand, or I'd have probably taken the £83,000 cash altogether, I wouldn't have been able to win this on Thursday. I've got 2 tickets on this 5.4 metre long camper van with a shower and a little lounge and cooker. It's got everything in it. Everything you would need is in this short wheelbase Peugeot. So the plan is win this on Thursday and then win the Dream Car next Tuesday. Yeah, I know, ridiculous. It's wishful thinking, isn't it? Right, what did they add on Revcomps then last night? Well, for this Thursday's draw, I've got a ticket on this Lambo because it's a £200,000 cash alternative, or 5 runners up for £5,000. I've got a ticket on the camper van as well. But the new ones I've got added on last night, a Range Rover. There's always a Range Rover. That's a 3 litre V6 diesel Range Rover. There's a Ford Ranger Wildtrak. That's a 3.2 litre diesel. They got another EcoSport on you, or EcoSport, it's correctly pronounced by Ford. Similar to mine that I won in July, but this is a titanium model, so it's one model down. There is a difference in that mine has got the painted side skirts and bumpers and the blacked out grille, and I've got the black roof and the panels. So this one is this one's a titanium model, which is a nice enough car, same engine, gearbox and everything. It's just a different spec, and you'll see the difference between that and on mine. That's my actual car, the bottom half there, and the bumpers are all painted body coloured, the grille is blacked out, and it's got the black roof and the pillars. Much nicer car. I love this car, I love it, and I'm glad I won it. Well, of course I'm glad I won it. What else is on there? Audi A6, that's the 2 litre diesel with flappy paddles, automatic. Good family car, that, fair play. Obviously I'm going to be buying tickets on this motorhome. Lovely looking thing that is. £11.67 a ticket still. I haven't bought any yet, but yeah, I've had a look at the inside of that. It's a lovely looking thing, so I have to buy a ticket on that, don't I? Now, this Toyota Yaris, I looked at the spec on this today. Now, they've never really appealed to me, right? They would have done 30 years ago, but not so much now. But when I looked at the spec today, these things are 4-wheel drive and 0 to 60 in about 5.3 seconds. I can't imagine how much fun these things must be. They must be absolutely hilarious to drive, absolutely brilliant. But no, I'm still not playing for it. The last one then is a Citroen C3 Aircross. I wouldn't bother playing for this one, guys. I know who's going to play for this, and I know where it's going to end up going. It's going up to Kev's in Sheffield, because it's an automatic, low insurance group, cheap to run, got all the extras on it. Perfect car for you, Kev. So that's it for this Tuesday's episode then. Let me know how you got on, and if you would, leave a coordinate in response to my comment, and we'll add them all to another video on Saturday where we'll have a look at where the average is, because the average hasn't been far out. And remember, it's a guide, the average. It's, you know, it's not something to stick to, but you think, right, okay, if the average is going to be there, it'd be a good idea to go somewhere near the average. Lovely, thanks everyone, and good luck.